Hi guys, hope you're keeping well and staying as positive as you can during this lockdown time and trying to make the most of the time as well. So to help you, if you are trying to learn a little bit of English, I'm going to do a quick grammar lesson today on quantifiers. And this is good for elementary and pre-intermediate levels. And it's like, in this case, it's going to be how much, how many, a lot of. So I'll explain the grammar, clarify a few things, give some examples, and I hope that at the end you can understand and use it with a little bit of confidence as well. Okay, so here goes. Now, so yeah, quantifiers for elementary and pre-intermediate level. Now, when you see the next page of grammar explanation, it's going to be like, whoa, but I'll break it down piece by piece and explain what it means. Okay, so don't worry. If you see the next page and you're like, whoa, don't worry. It's going to be okay. All right. So you've got these quantifiers, and let's start with the uncountables, which are just here in the corner. And you have uncountable nouns. For example, sugar, air, water, things like this. These are singular nouns. They're classed as singular nouns. So we then have a column with short answers and full answers. So how much sugar do you eat? Now, in this case, we use how much with uncountable nouns. Okay, so how much with uncountable nouns. Now, for quantifiers, you have, okay, your short answer is a lot, quite a lot. Like a lot is a big quantity, quite a lot, more or less a big quantity. Then you have a little, then not much, and then none, which is zero. Okay, they're your short answers. So, like, how much sugar do you eat? You can say the short answer, like a lot, quite a lot, a little, or you can use the complete sentence, which would be, I eat a lot of sugar. Okay, I eat quite a lot of sugar. I eat a little sugar. I don't eat much sugar, and I don't eat any sugar. And just a couple of things to clarify about this. When you have, okay, the first one, a lot of, then you can't say nothing after of. So when you say a lot of, you have to include a noun of what you're going to say. Like, I drink a lot of wine. He eats a lot of burgers. But you can't simply say, I eat a lot of, and then full stop. You have to put the noun at the end of that. Okay? And then also you have not much. I don't eat much sugar. So we use much for uncountables. Okay. And also none. None means none at all. Now, I don't eat any sugar. You could also say I eat no sugar, but you can't say I eat none sugar because none means I don't eat anything, if that makes sense. Zero quantity. And none is going to go alone here. Now, we've got countable, okay, which are plural. For example, 1 cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, 3 cups of coffee, one person, two people, three people, four people. So if you can count them like 2, 3, 4, then it's going to be countable. Now, how many sweets do you eat? So do you see the difference? It's how much for uncountable, but how many for countables. Okay. And then it's very similar. So you have a lot, like I eat a lot of sweets, quite a lot. I eat quite a lot of sweets. A few, I eat a few sweets. You have not many, I don't eat many sweets. And then you have none, I don't eat any sweets. So the differences are basically many, okay, and a few. So if you look at the uncountable nouns, they say a little, okay? So a little for uncountable, and then for countable, it's a few. And that's the differences there, okay? And then you have not much and not many, okay? So it's not much for uncountable and not many for countable. And I'm going to show you a chart to make this a little bit easier as well to understand. And then we have a lot of and lots of. So a lot of and lots of mean the same thing. So he eats a lot of cheese, or he eats lots of cheese. Just be careful of one thing here. You either say a lot of whatever it is, or lots of and whatever it is. But don't say a lots of, because that doesn't work. It's simply lots of or a lot of, and that's the same meaning. That's all. Now, just to recap on some of this, we use a lot of countable, and so that's the beauty with a lots of. You can use it for countables and uncountables. So with this, there's no confusion. There's not like, oh, much, many. No, no, no. A lots of is for countables and uncountables. I drink a lot of beer, or I drink many pints of beer. Okay, uncountable and countable. I eat a lot of chocolates. I eat 3 bars of chocolates every day. Okay, so I eat a lot of chocolate bars, just like this. Okay, and then you have quite a lot of. So I eat quite a lot. You use this for a medium quantity, and it has to be quite a lot of. You can't say quite lots of. No, no, no. It has to be quite a lot of, and then whatever it would be. Smaller quantities are a few, not many, with countable plural nouns for a small quantity. And then not any, and then none in short answers for a zero quantity. So that's it. And then a lot of with much and many. So in positive sentences, we usually use a lot of. I eat a lot of, she eats a lot of, and so on, like this. In negative and questions, we use much and many. So I don't drink much water, or do you drink much coffee? So we use much and many in questions and negatives, but we tend to use a lot of in positive sentences. And then also, it's possible to use a lot of in negatives and questions. So, I don't eat a lot of vegetables. Do you drink a lot of coffee? So, I suppose a little trick with all of this is if you're thinking, oh, countable, oh, what is that? Just use a lot of, because you can't be wrong. Like, do you eat a lot of chocolate? Do you eat a lot of burgers? Whatever it would be. If it's countable or uncountable, it's going to be fine. Okay. But if you are using much and many, it tends to be in the negative and in questions. Okay. And also you can use a lot of in the negative. I don't eat a lot of meat, and whatever it is, like this. So a lot of is quite nice here because it functions all ways. Now, to make this a little bit clearer still, I've made this chart just to understand a little bit more. So you've got uncountable nouns, a lot, and then I have a lot of sugar, example. So you've got the short answers, and then you have the sentences in context. So do you eat a lot of sugar? A lot, or I have a lot of sugar. And then you have quite a lot. I have quite a lot of sugar. And then a little. I have a little sugar. And then not much. I don't have much sugar. And then none. I don't have any sugar. Now I've put those in bold. Okay, a little, not much. And then the question underneath. How much sugar do you have? Because that's the differences between them. Okay, that's all. Now with countable nouns, it's the same. It's like a lot. I have a lot of bananas. Quite a lot. I have quite a lot of bananas. But the differences are in the black there, okay? With uncountable, you say a little, but with countable nouns, you say a few. I have a few bananas. And then you have not many. I don't have many bananas. And then none is the same in the context as uncountable nouns. And then the question, how many bananas did you eat? That's all, okay? Now, if that's okay, what I want you to do is to select the correct word or phrase and see how you get on. So pause this for 2 minutes, pick the correct word, and then we'll check back. Okay. Now, we don't eat, is it a lot of or lot of sweets? Well, in the case of lot of, it has to be a lot of. Now, with lot of, the second option, it would have to be lots of. So you can't have lot of. It has to be a lot of. So the first one is going to be a lot of sweets. Okay, you could say we don't eat lots of sweets, but when it's a lot of, it needs to be sweets in this case, a lot of. Number 2, my friends don't drink much or many coffee. This is negative. Now, coffee is, in this case, it's uncountable. So if it's uncountable, it's going to be much. If it was cups of coffee, that is countable, like 1 cup of coffee, 2 cups, 3 cups, then you would put many. But it's coffee itself, which is uncountable. So it's going to be much coffee. Number 3, Donna ate her hamburger, but she didn't eat, is it much or many chips? Now, believe it or not, chips are French fries, what we call them, chips we call them here, and in England and Scotland, are actually French fries. And you can count them. You can't count rice. I know it's mad, but you can actually count chips. Okay. So Donna ate her hamburger, but she didn't, because it's negative, eat many chips, because chips are countable. Number 4, I have a cup of tea and a few or a little cereal for breakfast. Well, cereal is uncountable. So it's going to be a little cereal. Okay. And then, do you eat much or many meat? Now, meat again is uncountable. And this is a question. So it's going to be much meat. And finally, the answer to that question is no. I don't eat no or any meat. Well, it's going to be I don't eat any meat. You could restructure that another way and say, no, I eat no meat. But when you have don't and no, it's like a double negative, which means a positive in English. So be careful of that. And that's it, guys. That's it. So I suppose a good way to practice this is to think of your diet and think of some of the foods. Could be what? Fast food, meat, vegetables, cereal, coffee, beer, marijuana, whatever it is that you do, that you maybe smoke a lot of, or drink a lot of, or do a lot of. And that's it. You can practice this by making some sentences and trying it that way. So I hope that helps. And that's all for today. Have a lovely day, guys. And stay safe, stay strong, and stay positive. Keep the faith.